Hello, new friends. I'm Nicole, and this is Abu, and welcome to my little creative corner of the internet. I honestly didn't think my journey was going to lead here, starting a YouTube channel, but when I look back on this past year, it almost feels inevitable. So just a little background on who I am. I'm a 34-year-old mom with a 2-year-old daughter and another one on the way. I studied visual communications in college, which covered photography, graphic design, video, some business. And honestly, it was the perfect thing for me because I'm kind of a jack of all trades, master of none. I like having a lot of skills in my tool belt. And so it was the perfect degree for me. After college, I had a variety of jobs that were related to my career. But if we fast forward to 2023, that's kind of when everything shifted. I was in my corporate job of 4 years, but I was laid off, and I happened to be 5 months pregnant at the time with my first. And it put me in this weird position of like, what am I going to do? Like, what job am I going to take when I'm 5 months pregnant? It was kind of this moment of, well, what do I want to do? So I decided to start freelancing, partly out of necessity, but also because I wanted control over my own schedule. And honestly, it took off. I got clients pretty quickly, which I'm grateful for. And that's what I've been doing ever since. Now, I've always had these little side hustles that I've always done on the side. It's just a lot of times just creative outlets for me, and just some different ways of how I could make some extra income. But it wasn't until the beginning of the year that I started to feel this pull to really focus more in on that, of building something of my own. Something that just wasn't client work. Something that felt more aligned with who I am and what I wanted to do. So I started taking on fewer clients so I could spend a little bit more time with my own business. And that's kind of eventually what led me here. But even though I was finally giving myself some space to work on my own business and my own creative pursuits, I still was struggling with what I wanted that to look like and what it should look like. I felt this really strong need to build a brand, a business that could help others and to provide inspiration and utilize my skills that I have to help others. But the problem was, the more I started to nail it down, the more scattered I started to feel. I kept bouncing between ideas of what I wanted to do, what I wanted to teach, what I wanted to create, and what would be fulfilling. And because I didn't have any clarity yet, I just kept trying everything. And that was kind of my motto for the year. Just try everything, see what sticks, see what I like, see what I don't like, hoping that magically something would be, I'd figure out was the thing. I even became pretty desperate to get some extra income, that I was trying all these different paths of things that maybe these shiny new objects that could possibly bring in some extra money quickly. So a lot of that was, faceless marketing, just a bunch of different courses of things of like to earn some extra income. And sadly, some things that probably ended up being more of the get rich quick schemes that I fell for. Yeah, I tried some of those make money fast schemes that I obviously know better than, but thought that maybe that was the answer. And then I felt like I had got some clarity at one point that I knew that and I still know that I want to sell digital products down the road, and like whether that's courses or guides or different things that utilize my skills. But I came across, I should do this through Instagram. So I decided to start an Instagram and try to build a presence on there. But the problem with Instagram was, for me, it felt like this constant push and pull. I got so consumed with trying to figure out my perfect niche that it completely burnt me out. Because one, I'm multi-hyphenate, multi-passionate, and that's really hard for me to do. But also, I felt like I was just constantly on Instagram, like trying to figure things out and trying to post things or look at other people's accounts to try to get ideas. And I just felt like I was on the app all the time. And I was just trying to keep up. And the other thing was, there's a lot of things that I wanted to share, but I was having a really hard time squeezing my thoughts into a small, like short form video, because, you're only allowed 3 minutes on Instagram. And a lot of those videos to be successful are a lot shorter. I felt like I kept fighting it. Cause if I'm being honest, like I'm a storyteller. I talk in long sentences. I like to expound, and sometimes it drives my husband crazy, but that's just how I have always been. I like context and nuance and explaining the why behind things. And And trying to do all of that in a short form video was just not working for me. And I felt like it kept chopping off a lot of the parts that mattered. And so the more that I tried to force this, the more that it just kept feeling heavier. It was kind of like this quicksand feeling, whereas like the harder I pushed and the harder I tried, the more I sank. And for a long time, I convinced myself that I just needed to keep trying and just try harder and that it would eventually click. And don't get me wrong, I think there's a place for short form content and I hope to eventually get that figured out. But for me, I think I just was getting so focused of like, okay, well, it's supposed to be hard work. And, maybe this is just the growing pains of it. And while I think that something should be hard work, I think there's a difference between something being hard work and something feeling like it's weighing you down and burning you out. Even through this year, there has always been 3 things that I've been sure of. Number 1, I want to create in whatever form that looks like. I want to just keep creating, and I'd like to create more than I consume. Number 2, I want to teach and inspire others like me, because there have been so many people that have impacted my life, and I would love to do that for others. And number 3, I want to make money, and I'd like to be my own boss and be able to make money doing the things that I love. I've thought of YouTube a lot throughout my life. In fact, when I was a teenager, I think I always thought that I would start a YouTube channel one day, but it was always like, oh, that'll be in the future when I'm more established. Well, first of all, I don't think you ever feel established, but now that I am older, and I would think about it in the past, it was always kind of something that I just decided I was not going to do because a ton of hard work, because it felt too big, too slow, and long term, and sadly too much work for someone who was wanting to get results fast. And I know, I've been impatient and a little greedy, but that's the truth. And then just one random night within the last couple 2 to 3 weeks, I was just doom scrolling and I came across this reel that kind of just stopped me. Wasn't anything crazy, but it was somebody sharing what they had made on YouTube. It kind of just stuck with me of wait, I really haven't considered YouTube fully. I've tried a lot of other things this year. Why was I so against YouTube? And so I started going down this rabbit hole of YouTube and what that would look like if I were to start a channel. And the next thing I knew, I was down this rabbit hole of this is the answer. And I realized, you know what? I think YouTube might be the thing that I should have been doing all along, because I've been trying to fit myself in this short form content when everything about who I am creatively, professionally, personally is more long form. Because I think I finally realized that I was forcing myself into something that wasn't the best option for me. I mean, I have so many people that I follow and that I admire. And sometimes I think that I have to follow their steps exactly in order to see success. But sometimes, most of the time, you're going to find your own path and you're going to find your own experiences along the way. And that's something I've realized that everything who makes up who I am, I'm a storyteller. I love editing. I love creating videos. I always have. And I love talking through concepts and sharing behind the scenes and teaching in a way that actually has room to breathe. And for the first time in months, things started to feel lighter and everything just started to fit together like puzzle pieces, and it just felt right. And I felt like I wasn't fighting myself, or I wasn't in quicksand anymore. So that's how I ended up here, filming my very first video. I guess I do have a random travel video that I posted back in 2019 that's on this channel, but I'm still considering this my first video. And I'm hoping this channel becomes a place where I can show up honestly, create freely, and finally let all of the pieces of my creativity live in one place. So if you're someone who's multi-passionate like me, or someone who feels like you have big dreams and very little time, or someone who loves creating but doesn't know where to start, I hope that this space can feel like home. I'm excited to see where it goes, and I thank you for being here at the beginning. And I hope that you'll subscribe and follow me along during my journey.